My son David brought me a book not long ago that deals specifically, emphatically, cogently with the issue that is the subject of today's podcast. The book is titled Unnatural Death. It's subtitled Medicine's Descent from Healing to Killing. It's written by Richard Weikart, who is no stranger to the ministry of the Christian Research Institute. He is a professor of history at California State University. He is an author. He's written all kinds of really important books. I think of the book From Darwin to Hitler, or the book The Death of Humanity, another Darwinian racism. His doctoral dissertation was on socialist Darwinism. And by the way, that book earned the biennial prize of the Forum for History of Human Sciences as the best dissertation in that field. You know, as you're speaking, I can't help but think back to my own experience. I was born in the Netherlands in 1950. We immigrated in 1953. My father, a very committed Christian, towards the end of his life, had a fibrosing of the lungs, and it encroaches upon your ability to assimilate oxygen. And I still remember vividly, he was 74 years old, same age as I am right. In fact, right this minute, I was having this conversation when he was exactly the same age I was. He was 74. I'm 74 now. But anyway, back then, I think it was 1997, I watched him suffer, Richard. I watched the agony that he was going through just to get a gulp of air. And I remember asking him, Dad, wouldn't you just like to go home and be with the Lord? And I'll never forget what he told me. He said, no. Every moment is precious. And so the very value that you talk about, the value in suffering, he was expressing to me with those words.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because a lot of people, when they get in those situations, again, it is, I want to be with the Lord. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be released from suffering. Of course, we want to be released from suffering. No one likes to suffer. But you're right. It's amazing how the attitudes have changed in our culture to where, suffering is the absolute worst thing that can happen. Whereas we don't think about eternity. We don't think of it in reference to eternity these days. I actually, you talk about your dad. My mother-in-law is living with us right now. She's 91 years old. She's got dementia. And I'm sort of her primary caretaker in a lot of ways. I get up at night with her and do different things with her and everything. And you think, well, what's the purpose? What's the meaning of her life, in this time? And yet, that's not our call. That's not my decision to make, when her life is going to end. I am called to be a servant. I'm called to, be a blessing to those, and those people with disabilities. And what strikes me too, and in this whole conversation too, is that there's a lot of people who seek after assisted suicide and euthanasia, not just because of the suffering and pain. Sometimes that is an issue there, but a lot of times it's because of the loneliness. It's because of lack of relationship with other people. And some people who do this will actually say this forthrightly. Others times they don't necessarily say that, but it becomes clear from the data. I mean, Oregon keeps data on, they poll people who request assisted suicide, and they keep data on why they request assisted suicide. And a lot of times it doesn't have to do with pain. Less than 50% of the time does it have to do with pain. So this is not just an issue of pain. It's an issue that has to do with human relationships. It has an issue to do with love. The people are lacking the love in their life that they need. And a lot of times, if they had that love, they would be willing to go through that suffering. But without love and without connections and things, it just torments them even more, and it just drives them in ways that are unfortunate.
Yeah, when you talk about your mother-in-law, I can't help but think that you can't see necessarily the purpose of that suffering she's going through with dementia. My mother was also afflicted with dementia towards the end of her life. She died at 93. But in taking care of someone in that circumstance, you are changed. The caretaker, the caregiver is changed. My brother was the primary caregiver because he lived in the same locale, same state with my mother, and I can tell you he was irrevocably changed for the better. He was a great person at any rate, but he was irrevocably changed for the better through that experience. It is life altering and in a very positive sense. In the context of this discussion, at least somewhat in the context of this discussion,